Hey, Shalom Yashrala. This your brother Davida coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders, a great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here article real quick, which I kind of found that was funny, and looking into the spirit of how these things go, and you have to understand that, a man's going is of the Lord. All right, it's not of himself. All right, so you see a lot of these different things and these talking points that these people put out. And, I remember seeing this early off in this here situation. They kept calling, Russia's, how you call it, Russia's equipment far more inferior to, Ukraine in the West. All right, Russia had outdated weaponry and everything. You had all these different propaganda channels pushing forth propaganda. There was a channel I used to like watching and everything else like that. It's like two different channels, but and then with this here situation, what was it called, infographics or something like that, they would go into like different things and stuff like that. But just listening to their videos about what would happen if World War III started, Russia, and what's going on with Ukraine, and they kept pushing out that Ukraine is a far more superior military, far more superior weaponry, and Russia's just got old outdated stuff that they just had tanks and stuff sitting around, Humvees sitting around for the last 30, 40 years, and tires are dry rotted, and this is why they can't win the war. And it's just like, you're not taking into account that you have the whole West. There's a different article, but let's touch on this here article. You have the whole West, all right, that's coming together, arming the Ukraine. And there's another article which is speaking about how America's stockpile is being depleted over here, trying to stockpile the Ukraine. All right, you've already had other nations who had to slow down their not to say donations, but them giving off these weapons to Ukraine because it would leave them with depleted stocks. All right, but yet this is the narrative that they're pushing on Russia. Oh, Russia's got a depleted stock. They're going to be running out of missiles at a certain point in time, and they're running out of this, running out of that. Their military is fatigued. Their troops aren't trained. They don't want to. Now, granted, they did have a protest over there, but when you actually understand the full spectrum of what's really going on over here, all right, to put it in an American perspective, all right, it's just like you say the United States is going to war with, let's just say, Cuba. All right, in the size comparison, you got the whole U.S. versus little old Cuba. Well, if you understand about the American military, you have multiple branches of the military. All right, you got the Army, the Navy, the Marines, and the Air Force. All right, we're not going to talk about the Space Force, but you just got those branches right there. Now, even inside of those branches, you have what they call the reserves. All right, the Army Reserve and so on and so forth. Right, and then even on top of that, you have a Coast Guard and you have a National Guard. All right, so you have multiple different layers of this here military. Not even to talk about NATO, right? So, but let's just imagine, America going to war with Cuba, right? And they decided they're going to send up, the Florida National Guard. Not even all the states' National Guard, because every state has their own National Guard. But you just have, the Florida National Guard going to go to war against not even the whole Florida National Guard, just a brigade, a small number of them going to war against Cuba. All right, and if they over there struggling with those things, you wouldn't say, oh, America's really losing the war. It's like, well, they didn't even send the actual troops in. All right, they didn't, when they normally go roll up on you, they have their whole military. All right, all the different branches, you know what I'm saying, and they got the reserves on backup. All right, and then plus they got NATO to roll up on you, but they just sending their little reserves. It's not like they sending to give you a different example. It's like, you got a NFL team, all right, playing some little Pee Wee League football, right? Like, I mean, it's not really fair to say that the NFL team is really winning over here comparably to this here scenario, all right? So it's not really a real fight here, all right? As far as what Russia is sending over, because they were sending at first 100,000 troops versus 100,000 reservists, all right, against Ukraine and their 100,000 soldiers. Now, Ukraine was sending their actual troops, whereas Russia was sending reservists. Now, they just had a restock of soldiers to 300,000 reservists. Again, they're not even using their actual military. But like I said, not to get too far off topic, but they're talking about this little rhetoric about these things going on. Now, look at this here article. It says, New York Times suggests why Russia still has missiles. All right, we got a lot of these people that are buying into this here propaganda, but what does the scripture say about these things, man? We know who's going to wind up coming out on top with this here war. All right, it's not gonna go as you know, man's going is of the Lord, man. It's not gonna go. Well, we're gonna just sit there because I mean, this is what you have going on right now. Basically, a siege against Russia, you know, with the sanctions and things like that, so that they can, you know, spend money on their military and everything else like that. Pretty much starve them out, so the soldiers will lose morale, and not want to fight. All right. Not only that, to be able to stockpile and create these missiles and everything else like that, man. All right. So, hey, they think that hey, we'll just stall them out with a proxy war with the Ukraine for a long time. And then when they get down and depleted, we'll go in and mop up the rest. You know, this is why this is a tactic of Esau. Again, going into Hegelian dialectic, man. You know what I'm saying? You got two different opponents. What you do is you divide and conquer. You divide, you know, this one group up into two different groups, or you take, you know, two of your different enemies and let them go ahead and fight it out, and you come and sweep up the rest after they already fatigued and tired. But this is what they've been having going on. But again, they don't realize that, hey, this is all of the Lord, man. So, hey, Russia's not going to be over here giving up and everything. And then when America and NATO and them decide they're going to go over there and try to deplete them, all right, all of a sudden they're going to just be like, well, you know, they don't have the will to fight. We just rolled in there with our tanks and they just gave up. No, it's actually the opposite of these things happening, man. All right, the EU is over here getting weak, and the EU is over here and you know, NATO minus, you know, America, but you know, well, let's just say the EU. The EU is over here getting weak, all right, and they're starting to look at America different now, man. All right, they're starting to say, look, man, we can't even afford this here energy and everything else is going on. So, hey, we might have to change spots. So you putting these sanctions on Russia is actually only hurting your own people, man. All right, you're the ones that's over here trying to deplete Russia their stockpile of weapons, but hey, you the one running out of weapons, man. All right, it says New York Times suggests why Russia still has missiles. All right, it says though the UK, US, and Ukraine have insisted otherwise, Moscow stockpiles clearly hasn't run out. The outlet writes. Again, you gotta be careful with this here propaganda because, like I said, I remember listening to all this here propaganda about how, Russia was nothing but bluffing about their military and they got this. Yeah, we'll see if they actually got missiles like that. We'll see if they really got hypersonic missiles. We'll see if their aircraft actually work and everything else like that. But like, look, there's a reason why America don't want Turkey to have that S-400. There's a reason why America stopped bombing over there in goddamn Syria. There's a reason why America can't just go run up in Venezuela like they really want to over there. All because of what? Russian technology. So don't let the propaganda get you all twisted out here, man. Don't let that Kool-Aid get you all lost in the sauce in that Babylonian juice, man. It's actually the opposite. All right. It says the New York Times on Friday offered 4 possible explanations as to how Russia was able to launch a massive missile salvo against Ukraine this week after the government in Kiev, the Pentagon, and the British intelligence have spent months insisting Moscow stockpiles were running low. All right, because they want you to believe that, well, oh yeah, keep supporting Ukraine. We're winning. And you don't realize your ass is losing. All right, you like that damn junkie that's just, I want to party and get high. I'm having a good time. I'm living life and loving life. But you know, the people from the outside is over here looking at your body deteriorating the whole damn time. You losing everything. You know, lost your job, lost your kids, lost your house. You know what I'm saying? You losing all your teeth and everything else like that. But you think you still having a good time while everybody over here looking at you like, damn, bro, you actually out here losing, man. That delusion, once you sober up, you'll realize, man. All right. Since Ukraine claimed that last month Russia had used up 70% of its pre-war missile reserves, the Times noted, while British Defense Ministry said the October 10th strike against Ukrainian infrastructure was likely to constrain their ability to strike the volume of targets they desire in the future. Today's strike, which the Times described as the biggest aerial attack of the conflict so far, featuring 96 missiles, raises questions about how much Russia's arsenals may be depleted and whether Moscow will endure by finding alternative sources of weapons. And hey, look, you know, because they've been trying to blame it, they've been getting stuff from Iran, like drone technology, in which now what Iran does have over all the other nations when it comes to that drone technology is a technology called swarm technology. But, you know, I forgot what year it was. A couple years back, China, all right, throughout their New Year's celebration scenario, they pretty much showed off that same swarm-like technology where they created like a damn, well, I don't know what it is, how you call it, like a 3D damn show up in the sky and everything else like that. But they just used a bunch of different drones with lights on them and everything else like that, right? That's swarm technology, right? Which also when you go into, I think now they calling it the Su-75, the Checkmate plane, but they actually have what do you call it, an AI fighter jet, all right? Now the thing is, you could put them in basically like swarms, all right? And you got one guy controlling all these different flights. Well, it's a little different because with the swarm, you still have like somebody kind of controlling it versus the AI where, you know, they all kind of control and work on their own, all right? Just like kind of like the F-35 has similar technology to that, where that's why they call it the F-35 program. These planes kind of work in tandem with one another, and you'll have these planes, one plane using radar for another plane looking out for another plane and firing off a missile to how do I call it, to pretty much block another plane from getting hit with something. All right, so they have like this type of technology, but they're over here insisting that they're just all of a sudden Russia going to go buy this stuff from Iran when it's the other way around. All right, but it says one explanation comes from the Pentagon, which has claimed Russia was running out of missiles as early as May. All right, and hey, look where we at now. All right, it says Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said on Wednesday that Russia was reaching out to Iran and North Korea to replenish its ammunition stock. And you got to understand, North Korea, even though they do got some missiles over there, again, that's just like saying, hey, look at the stockpile that you know how big North Korea is comparably to Russia. We'll just leave it at that. All right, and North Korea ain't no big global trade exporter of any kind of goods in the world where they could be racking in money to be able to buy all these this weaponry and stuff like that, man. All right, it's the other way around. Again, it's like what Cuba got versus what America got. Well, we know that Cuba got these sanctions on them, so you trying to go buy some resources from Cuba, you gonna go get some old outdated type of shit, man. All right, but it says the Pentagon itself has publicly said otherwise. Moscow, Tehran, and Pyongyang have all denied this. However, meanwhile, the U.S. has reportedly been trying to buy artillery ammunition for Kiev from South Korea. So you see what I mean? Hey, look, they'll project these things out about what the propaganda. Hey, this is what Russian them over there buying from North Korea. This is that. Whereas America got to go buy up from somebody else, man. Just like when they put the sanctions on Russia, that none of the allies could buy Russian gas. Well, what did they have to want to do? Buy Russian gas, man. So hey, man, these the damn devils that we dealing with. But that's not the point we're trying to make here. So there's another possibility relies on Ukrainian claims from Thursday that Russia has used S-300 air defense missiles to strike ground targets. The unverified claims follow attempts by Kiev to blame Moscow for the S-300 that struck the Polish village of Przewodów on Tuesday, killing 2 civilians, in which that was the Ukrainians and their missile defense system that pretty much shot those missiles over there. It says Yanis, a British intelligence firm, said that it believes that Russia is actually building more missiles, possibly using stockpile microchips and other technology embargoed by the U.S. and its allies for years. And this is pretty much what you have going on. All right, when you go into the scriptures, this is what the scriptures talk about, man. So you got to understand how this thing is going to end, man. All right, what does the scripture say that we'll get to it? It says probably begin producing high numbers of Islander caliber cruise missiles before February. They were likely being produced as we speak, with the Russian defense industry working around the clock, according to the company. Now, we remember back when Obama was in office, man. All right, now you think about this. When Obama was in office, then you had Trump. From Trump, then we over on Biden. Now, this little conflict started with Biden earlier this year. Now, think about this. When Obama was in office is when Russia started dropping these new weapons, man. The Islander, the Caliber, the nuclear-powered cruise missiles, the hypersonic missiles. All right, so hey, they've been stockpiling these things. The S-500 Prometheus system. All right, they've been perfecting the S-400. They've been perfecting all this and building up weapons for the whole damn time while there was no sanctions, when they still saw that America was encompassing round about them. All right, like the scripture said, the Lord is working on the minds of these kings, man. All right, he's the ones directing them to do these things, man. All right, it says Mark, I don't know how to pronounce the name, Kakane, of the Center for Strategic and International Studies think tank in Washington, noted that a few in the West know how many missiles Russia has in its stockpile, and that Moscow might be holding some weapons back in case an overt war with NATO. And this is the plan that America have, that the fact that they could just pretty much lay siege to Russia, and when they get weak enough, they can just run up in there. Or they can't go and fight no war because they just all out of weaponry and everything else like that. But it's the actual opposite, because see, America just been fighting. They coming off a 20-year hot war in the Middle East. All right, you got the soldiers that's all depleted, not wanting to fight and everything else like that. That's why you're using these this proxy. All right, you don't really have American troops over there fighting. But hey, what happened over in Afghanistan, man? All right, how come that was a loss for you? How come Syria was a loss for you, man? We know what Syria was that was all planned anyway. America put their own people over there just for basically to wage war against Bashar al-Assad. But, you know, when Russia came up in there, hey, America had to tuck tail and run. All right. But let's get into some scriptures here because, like I said, hey, this is all based off of prophecy, man. All right. And this is one of the major prophecies that we see, you know, the how do I say, the aftermath of these things. And we'll get to a certain point. It says, Ezekiel 38:1, it says, and the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith Yahweh power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back, and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, and all of them handling swords. So as they're coming back together to that USSR state, that big superpower state, all right, they're going to be handling buckler, shields, and helmets and swords, man. They're going to come strapped. It's not like you about to fight Russia with no old Cold War-ass military, bro. So the propaganda that they're pushing out, oh, man, you know, Russia, half the reason they losing all their damn Humvees and these little vehicles and everything else like that is because these things have been sitting around since the early 90s. The tires are all dry rotted. They getting flat tires and shit. They're not even a formidable foe. You know, they got these old-ass rifles that's all rusted and jamming up on them. And that's that propaganda so you can keep going out there cheering on your politicians. Yeah. Keep going. But what you don't realize is, hey, Ukraine is being, is the infrastructure is over there being demolished. All right, because, see, that's what they want, a landlocked lease over there. Like, hey, whatever happens over here, hey, we'll fund y'all. And then, you know, we'll rebuild all the infrastructure and everything else like that. And y'all pay us back by letting us put a base over here and let us have the rights to the resources, man. All right, which that pipeline, which you see what's going on with Europe. All right, that's a lifeline to Europe. So America basically trying to enslave their own damn allies over there, which is going to turn the beast that hate the whore. All right, so, hey, it's all according to prophecy, man. All right. You know, you got, like I said, you got this propaganda going out that's talking about, you know, the state of Russia and their weaponry and everything else like that, and how the West is winning the war against Russia and what Russia can't win. This is an unwinnable war for Russia. Like, motherfucker, they ain't even using a actual military yet. You know, you realize they're not using a actual military yet. They're not even using the full force of their reservists yet. But you know what I'm saying? You over here talking about that they over here doing, like, you know that right now Russia got more troops rounded up, 300,000 reservists. All right. Ukraine only had 100,000 troops to begin with, like actual troops to fight with. Like, that was all that they had. You know what I'm saying? So, like, and Russia ain't even caught up the actual military. But in reality, Russia could just bomb the hell out of their ass, man. Not no nukes, but they could just bomb the hell out of them with the arsenal. You see, we received the article that we read, and how, you know, and they're not really showing you on the TV how Russia is bombing the hell out of Ukraine. All right, there's a lot of, like, what they would say civilian territory and things like that. Now, granted, you know, Russia was hitting a lot of their military depots and weaponry and all these stockpiles and everything else like that, which we don't know if Russia actually was hitting that or if America had that shit blown up just so that America could sell them more and more arms, because it's just like a blank check that they're writing over to them. All right, but nevertheless, we do see that, you know, a lot of these buildings and things that Russia is bombing over there, man. All right, so, hey, you know, they actually just doing a lot of damage over there. But, hey, this is, you know, part of their plan. All right. But, hey, by no means are they running up out of weaponry. All right. Let's continue reading. It says, verse 5, Persia, which is Iran, Ethiopia, Libya, all of them with shields and helmet, Gomer and all his bands in the house of Tomargov, the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee. All right. It says, be thou prepared and prepare thyself. All right, thou and the company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. Now, we're going to break this here down a little bit. How the hell are you going to be a guard unto all these other nations when you can't even stockpile your own goddamn self? All right, you know, now what you see is going on is the opposite of this with Ukraine. All right, America and the West is being a guard unto this here one nation. All right, but, hey, it's going to be the other way around. It's going to be this one nation being a guard and a supplier to all these other nations. All right, let's see what this word be a guard unto them mean, actually. All right, so it says basically to watch observance, or to be a guard of observance. So, hey, you know, basically to watch over these other nations is going to be joined unto you. But how the hell are you going to watch over these nations and provide protection unto them if you yourself can't provide for your goddamn self? It don't make no sense. You see what I'm saying? But so, hey, you got to go off of what prophecy is saying. Now, let's go over to this here word where it says, be thou prepared. All right. Because this is what, like I said, going back to that Obama era, this is what had been going on the whole damn time, man. Russia was over here stockpiling all this, bruh. You know, this is, you know, waking up the bear, the hibernating bear. They had seen what had been going on for a long time. All right, they just have you thinking that this all of a sudden just popped up right now. But even in this Ukrainian scenario, you got the build up in 2008, the explosion in 2014. All right, all this shit then led to where we at right now in the Ukraine. So this has been going back from some time back beforehand, man. And you don't think that, you know, even since well, really the late 90s when the USSR fell, not so far after that, where, you know, the economy and everything else like that of Russia fell. All right, they realized what the hell y'all done to them, and then that gave rise and birth to, you know, who you got, your boy Vladimir Putin, and I do believe he's been up in there since uh, Bush, but they have a weird system where he'll become the president for a while and become, I believe, this is another title he'll have, and then go back and forth, back and forth. But nevertheless, he pretty much been in control of that country since then. All right. And since then, we've seen, you know, the Satan 1 missile being developed, the Satan 2 missile being developed, the hypersonic missile, the Kinjal missile being developed, the, what is it called, the Avangard missile being developed, the, what do you call them, nuclear-powered cruise missiles being developed. We've seen all these, the S-400 being developed, the S-500 being developed and put into service. All right, you know what I'm saying? We see all these different things. So we know that Russia's being prepared. All right, we know that Russia's over here developing things. What the hell did America develop recently? They you know, so-called put into what do you call it? Put into production. All right, now granted, the flip side is, oh well, Russia's bluffing about this. Their planes don't even work. Their missiles defense systems don't even work. Like, well, see, y'all over here is scared of the S-300. Now the S-300 is some old shit, man. They got the S-400, which apparently there's a problem with Turkey having that bad boy. You're obviously afraid of it. You didn't want to go over pull up on Syria, because I believe Syria got the S-400 placed down on them, and Venezuela got the S-300 placed down on them. And guess what? America, as soon as those missile defense systems touched down over there, it was a no-fly zone for America. So, hey, but, you know, obviously these F-35s are afraid of these things. Now, granted, you know, the problem ain't really with the F-35 and the S-300, but the S-400, you know what I'm saying? Hey, it renders that F-35 obsolete, and you can't even get your plane really off the ground. That's like the biggest failure of American they're spending is that F-35. But nevertheless, you know what I'm saying? They will tell you all these different things, but hey, Russia's actually putting these things down, and you can see the backlash of these things, man. All right, just don't go off of what they say. Go by what you see. Oh, Russia, their economy is going to be collapsed after a while. They're not going to be able to stand. We got all these sanctions. The sanctions is going to work. It's damn near about to be a whole damn year come February that Russia, you know, imagine you saying, look, oh, I'm balling, I got money, this, and that. All of a sudden, your job fire your ass, and 2 weeks later, you at the AmSky getting some money. All right, you wasn't really balling that hard, now was you? Now, granted, let's just say you done lost your job 4 or 5 years later from now. You still in the club popping bottles every single night like it was when you had a job, man. Like, well, obviously, he has some money stockpile. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he might be claiming that he broke, but this nigga's in the bar popping bottles every single night like he still got a job. And it's 5 years later, he's still out here doing it like that, man. So this is what you see going on with Russia, man. They was prepared from the jump, man. This is what they wound up being. So let's look at this word a little bit. All right. It says for prepare. It says to be firm, to be established. All right. To be fixed, to be stable, secure, to be enduring. All right. So, hey, this is what was prophesied about Russia. So we understand that they're going to be ready to ride it out all the way to the end. All right. To be prepared, to be ready. Pretty much to be established, to be restored, you know, going back to that USSR state, that big great superpower that even, you know, your boy Adolf Hitler said that the only person he really feared, the only reason he went that what was it to the east was because he feared that what's your boy name was Stalin would have invaded his ass, man. All right, and when Joseph Stalin, I believe it was, who said, man, I wasn't even thinking about going over there, but since you came with the smoke, we got to give you the smoke. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, at that point in time, hey, Germany was going on both sides, man. All right, but even back then, the only people they was really, how do I say, fearing was going to do some damage to them was Russia at that point in time. So, hey, man, now this bear is waking back up. All right, let's go back a little bit to verse 7. It says, be thou prepared to prepare thyself, thou and all the company that are assembled unto thee. So if they're going to be established, all right, and enduring, not just for themselves, but for these other people that's going to be a guard unto them, how the hell are you going to be running out of missiles and you supposed to be supplying somebody else? You know what I'm saying? How you saying, oh, yeah, I'm balling, I got enough, you and your friends go out, yeah, I got enough money for me, and we going to all go out to eat, I'm going to pay for everybody. Now the bill come, and you only got enough money for yourself, and you was being cheap the whole time you ordered a damn a plain salad and a glass of water, while you told y'all get whatever y'all want to go and get. Well, you weren't prepared to pay for everybody else, man. All right. Let me grab that precept. I got you. Let me see if I can find this precept real quick. Might have been 50 and 9. Oh, here we go. 51 and 11. Jeremiah 51 and 11, it says, make bright the arrows. All right. So, hey, what are these arrows? These missiles, right? It says, gather the shields. Yahweh have raised up the spirit of the king of the Medes, for his device is against Babylon. All right. To destroy it, because it is the vengeance of the Lord, the vengeance of his temple. Now, you got to understand about the prophecies about the earth reeling to and fro. Now, granted, the scriptures do say, all ye archers that bend the bow, all right, point your arrows at her and spare no missiles. You know what I'm saying? So there's going to be a point in time where all these nations bend their bows at America, but you have to understand, really, the people that's developing these missiles, you're really only going to get them from Russia or America, man. All right, you don't really have too many, nations that's. Now you have people that make components for them, like China with these microchips for the guided GPS systems and everything else like that. But hey, for that propulsion technology and things like that, that come from your boy von Braun. All right, in World War II, Project Paperclip, where this is where you when you go back to Adolf Hitler, he was the first person to have what you call like a ballistic missile, all right, like a rocket, basically, something that was propelled like that, all right. And Russia and America was the one that took their two scientists and everything, and they're the only ones with that technology, and neither one of these people was going to let that information get out, so that you have all these different nations building their own goddamn rockets and missiles and things like that, man. All right, even when you look at people with space programs, man. Anybody with a can put something into space. I mean, they got this technology, but look at where they're getting this stuff from. Even sometimes America hitch rods with Russian rocket launches, or vice versa, man. All right, so this is not nothing that just anybody and everybody can maintain. All right, but it says, make bright the arrows, gather the shields. Let's go in a little bit into these words as well too. But pretty much the point was made. All right, let's see what this to test, to prove. All right, prove these arrows, man. All right, make sure that they up and they work. Going back to that propaganda about, oh, all this stuff is all old, outdated, and everything else like that. But hey, they apparently they still out there working. All right. Let's see. A piercer. All right. A shaft of a spear, archer, arrow, a dart. Okay, this is going into the word arrow. All right. To divide, obviously, to shoot arrows, an archer, all right, to shoot an arrow, all right. So obviously we're not going to see the word obviously we're not going to see the word here missile, but just going into those arrows, man. So we know that, hey, talking about some Russians running out of a stockpile of missiles, we know that that's not going to happen. All right, let's see what this word the device is. The plot. All right, see, hey, the Lord's plot is going to be to do what? To destroy. Well, let's just read it. We'll close out with this here precept. Jeremiah 51:11, it says, make bright the arrows, gather the shields. Yahweh have raised up the spirit of the king of the Medes, for his device, his plot, his plan is against Babylon. And what is the plan? To destroy it, because it is the vengeance of the Lord, the vengeance of his temple. All right. I'm going to just keep reading. It says, set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon, make the watch strong, set up the watchmen, prepare the ambush, for the Lord have both devised and done which he has spake against the inhabitants of Babylon. All right, so hey, going into these here things, man, especially watching how Russia prepared themselves before, this whole situation, with the how do I say, the presidency of like Obama and all of them, through that time frame all the way up until now. Hey man, the Lord's been working. We'll close out with that. Been working on the minds of these kings. All right, to do these things, man. All right, Proverbs 21:1. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, as the rivers of water. He turneth it whithersoever he will. So hey, the Lord is the one that's conducting and moving, these people to do what they're gonna do, man. All right, hey, now we're gonna, like the scripture say, beat your plowshares, and I was gonna close out, but Joel 3 and let's just say 9. It's proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. So what do you think was the mindset? If the Lord is working on the mindset to these kings, what do you think the mindset of these Russians was back then? Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears, let the weak say I'm strong. All right, so hey, going into this here thing, this here scenario, what do you think that they was over here doing, man? You think they was over here trying to rebuild? In fact, they did rebuild their economy, but you didn't see them starting to develop. You know what? We're gonna start developing our cars and sell our cars worldwide to get rich off of these. No, they was developing military weaponry and things like that, man. All right, before America, while America trying to pull up out of the Middle East and everything, Russia over here dropping new weaponry and everything else like that, man. All right, and uh, uh, um, contrary to popular belief, they actually do work, man. And they got these Americans afraid. When they talk about the missile defense system, America's or Russia bombarding it with missiles. Hey, America's afraid of that because their missile defense systems can't handle the bombardment. They can't do anything to stop it. Even with the hypersonic missiles, they can't do anything to stop it. But again, you'll have these people who say, "Oh, this is just false propaganda. How do we even know it worked?" Russia just their main weapon is the bluff. Like, nah, America's main weapon is the bluff and deception, man. Russia is proving what they got going on over there. You got America over here asking how they still stockpiling. Hey, the Lord said, prepare yourself, man. Prepare your soldiers for the day of war. Prepare yourself for that day of the battle, man. Because, hey, I've devised this. This is what my plan is going to be, to destroy Babylon off the face of the earth. All right, you're not going to come into a scenario where, hey, Russia, or newsflash, Russia ran out of weaponry. They got to just go ahead and give up, and now America's going to just march up on Babylon, man. That's going to go against the word of the Lord, man. All right, and we focus on what? Prophecy, man. All right, but I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, the elect was edified with this here lesson. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation, much love for you, Aki, and pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.